Hi, everybody. Whoever is able to attend this. So, hi. I just wanted to go live and catch up with you guys, whoever can attend. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. So, yeah, I'm going to be going live and painting my toenails. I figured it'd be a good time to catch up and check in with you guys, see how you guys are doing. Um, let you know, I guess, what's going on with me. Not much today. Today's kind of a slow day. Um, but yeah, I thought that'd be cool. Something I've never done before, just like go live just to talk and say hi. Normally, when I go live, um, I'm always like, I have like a set plan of what I'm going to talk about, and not today. Just wanted to chat with you guys for a little bit while I do my nails. Figure that'd be fun, maybe. So, if y'all have any questions or anything, that you guys just want to talk about in general, any topics you want to talk about during this live, like feel free to leave comment in the chat box because I'm definitely open to talking about any topics. Um, just so it's not awkwardly silent, I guess I have a couple things on my mind. Um, I know I posted a video the other day and I talked about my short, brief 3 minute clip. I talked about feeling like I was ready to finish what I started. I'm gonna leave a comment. Hold on. Okay, hopefully that shows up. Oh, cool, it did. Okay. Um, so something I did want to talk about is something that I don't know. It's been really like strong on my heart for the last few weeks. Something I've really been just focusing on, like just an aha moment I had personally for myself, and that was the whole idea that like being a people pleaser. One of the things I realized over the last few months, really, and especially during like this like quiet quarantine time, where you have a lot of time in the house to yourself and stuff, I've realized how much I just try to please others, um, rather than just doing what I want. And I realized it's the saying, have wanting a seat at the table. That's something that I hear a lot. What do you bring to the table? What is it that you can bring to the table so that other people basically want to sit with you, right? At the table, that you're welcomed to their table. And one of the biggest things, guys, that hit me is that is a huge people pleaser saying. If you're constantly worried about like what you can offer others and what you can bring to the table, that's you constantly basically trying to just please someone else. Hey Lana, how you doing? um yeah, that was the biggest thing that I realized. And like all of my life, it's like trying to get a seat at the table, trying to get a seat at the YouTube table, trying to get a seat in the entrepreneur table, trying to get a seat at whatever other tables, um and the biggest thing that hit me was when I don't know who said it, but it just hit me like a brick. And it was like, you are the table. And I was just like, whoa. what? I'm the table. Changes the way you think about life. Like, how would you live life if you saw yourself as the table versus trying to get a seat at the table? Like, think about how many people are fighting to get a seat at the table, right? Makes me even think of like Solange's album, A Seat at the Table. Like, how many people are fighting for that seat at the table so they can be seen, so they can be heard, you know? And what if you changed your mindset on that and you began to say, I am the table, right? Like, I think that would shift things a bit. Like, for me, I started approaching life differently. Like, I was just like when it comes to manifesting, right? I would be, somebody who would just kind of be like, well, whatever life brings to me, is meant for me, kind of thing. Um, and like, yeah, get clear on what you want, but life may have something better planned for you. And to me, that was just kind of like, well, wait a minute. I'm supposed to, you have all these people telling you that you're this like super powerful being, and that you can manifest and create whatever you want and yada 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 yada. Why do I have to, like, I don't know, placate life in order to potentially get what I want? But even if life thinks I deserve something different because I don't really know what I want, like, you know what I mean? It just kind of just messed with my mind in a sense. I was like, what if I again changed my mindset about that and was like, I am the table? So instead, it's like the vision I have is like, you're this king or queen, right? Sitting at this large table, and life comes to you and is like, Your Majesty, how can I serve you? Your Majesty, what is it that I can get for you? And you're like, I'd like this, 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 and this. And life is like, okay, I'm going to go find the best of that for you. You know, it changed my perspective on how I see life. Instead of feeling like life is always happening to me, um, it it changed to where I would be like, okay, life, I'm putting this out there that I want this, and I'm open to the opportunities that you bring me, and whichever one I feel is best is the one I'll take. You know, so I mean, example would be like something really simple that's like happened most recently is me realizing like how much stuff I tend to like borrow from my mom, because me and my mom are really close. So it'd be something as simple as, oh, I want to try out, like, she has like a lot of Fabletics athletic wear, and I was like, oh, I want to try out Fabletics, but I don't want to commit to the price because I know I wanted new workout clothes. And so me trying to get a seat at the table or trying to just figure out how I'm going to make it happen, because that's really what happens when you're looking for a seat at the table. You're trying to make something happen, right? You're trying to claw your way to that table. Hi, Neon Eyes. Thanks for joining. But yeah, you're trying to claim a seat at the table. And so, in that sense, when it came to workout clothes, I was trying to make it come to me. So I would go out and I'd be like, hey, mom, oh, you have this large wardrobe of Fabletics athletic wear. Let me borrow some of your stuff. And so, for like a couple months, I actually did borrow some of her stuff that she hadn't been wearing, like she hadn't worn, because she always has new stuff coming in. um, and I just found that I wasn't in love with the clothes. Like, it didn't feel like me. And I kept telling my husband, like, because I was borrowing a lot of stuff from my mom. Like, there was so much stuff. I mean, from food containers to like, I was borrowing a lot of stuff. And I just be like, I don't feel like I'm getting stuff that I like. I feel like I'm just being my mother. And as much as I love my mother, I'm me, right? I'm a whole different being. And so over the last couple, well, not couple, at last 3 or 4 weeks, I've been giving all of her stuff back. So like yesterday was like I officially gave back the last thing I had borrowed from her. And even as she, like, we were talking and I was talking about how I want some dumbbells, so I can work out in the house and stuff, she's like, oh, you can borrow mine. And the first thing that clicked in my mind was like, okay, well, if I was to do that, right? Like, I put out into the universe or into life saying, hey, I want some dumbbells so I can work out in my home since the gyms are closed. If if life brings you a whole bunch of opportunities, which life will, and one of those opportunities is to borrow someone else's stuff, it's like you then received what you asked for. You received the dumbbells in that case. And so it's like, why would life give you another opportunity to receive dumbbells another way if that channel has now been fulfilled? It's like life can move on to another thing that you desire. And so for me, I realized I was blocking off like me receiving stuff that I actually really like and stuff that's made perfect for me because I was so busy blocking those channels by saying, oh, okay, life, this is the first thing you offered me. Because life will do that, where you say you want something and it'll kind of start out where it gives you like things that you settle for, you know? And it's not even to say that life tests you, it's almost just like you think about if somebody asks you to go get something, you're going to go to the easiest source um, to get that thing. Like if somebody says, "Oh, go and get me, I don't know, a leaf," instead of going to a beautiful tree and picking a fresh leaf off a tree, you might just go out and pick up a dead brown leaf that fell off like months ago, because it's the first thing you see. And so it's kind of the same thing how I envision, like, again, you being royalty at this table and life coming up to you and saying, Your Majesty, what can I get you? And you're saying, I want this and this and this. Life is going to go out and get the first thing available and show it to you. And if you're someone who, again, doesn't see yourself as the table, it plays a lot into your self-esteem and your self-worth. And do you see yourself as worthy and deserving of something better? If you don't, you're going to instantly jump on the first thing life gives you and be like, yeah, I'll take that. And so that's what I was doing. I was like, I'll take that. I'll just borrow it. I'll just borrow it. And then I'm using these things for months and I'm not getting any new workout clothes or new anything. And it wasn't until I was ready to give the stuff back to her that I would start getting my own things in. You know what I mean? Like giving back the workout clothes, I got my own workout clothes that are very good quality and colors that I really loved and things like that. Same thing with like the food storage bins, like I was borrowing a lot of food storage bins from her and they were the plastic ones. And I'm somebody who personally likes glass food storage containers. And so that was something that as soon as I was ready to let go of the original opportunity life presented me, life then gave me another opportunity to say, well, this is what you really wanted. This fits all of the details. It's almost like you say you want something and you want it so bad, but you have this list of like qualifications it has to meet for you to really like take it on. But because you're in such a rush and you're so impatient, you will just take something that doesn't meet all the qualifications, like, oh, I want to move to a place that looks like this. And then you find a place that maybe has half of those boxes ticked. And you're like, you know what? Forget it. I'm just going to settle and take this one. Yes, it's about settling. Yeah. Settling. And I just, that statement, you are the table, really changed the way I saw myself and I saw life. I realized that for a long time, I really did have a very low self esteem. I didn't really feel as though I deserved the best. I didn't feel like I deserved what I really wanted, Hi, Eva or Ava. Ava, Elise. um, see, right, we have to remember that we have options. We can't limit ourselves. Yes. And that was one of the biggest things I was doing for a long time, is always just limiting myself and in every way possible. And I was literally just blocking off like me receiving what I really wanted because I would just immediately, whatever life brought me, like the first thing life would bring me, I'd be like, okay, I'll take it. Because who knows if I'm going to get anything else. And that's like, I don't know, that's desperation. And to me, you really only do that if you don't feel deep down that you deserve it. Um, and you'd be surprised how many of us have really low self-esteem, especially women. Um, because one thing I've realized is there was a show I was watching on Netflix. I think it's called like 100 Humans, and they had this episode where they were trying to see which sex was better, female or male. And one of the tests they did revealed to them how much women are raised to be people pleasers. They're raised to essentially nurture and care for everyone else and put everyone else's needs above theirs. And it's just a totally different dynamic. Like men typically are raised to like go get what you want, right? Like just go make it happen and whatever. And women are kind of raised to just be like, oh well, it'll happen when it happens. You know what I mean? And just settle really quick and get what you can. And it's crazy. It's a really old belief system that just stems from old generations, like generations where, like, I've been watching the show Reign on Netflix, which is based. It's about like Mary, Queen of Scotland, and stuff, and it just shows how much, like, back then, which wasn't even that long ago, women didn't have any say in anything, and it was just like you only had status depending on who you married, and so you would have women who would marry just for title and nobility and to be able to have land and money because they couldn't have it themselves. And the minute that women decided to try and go get those things themselves, they would be looked down upon. Like, one of the women became a madam because her husband did some like fuck shit and ended up in jail, and she was left alone, and so she had to thrive by herself, and so she ended up being a madam or a pimp or whatever you want to call it. But she created her own income, and when another man approached her to marry her, she refused to let go of that independence that she had. And then so it's just like we have so many like beliefs that are instilled in us from our parents because they learned it from their parents. Like, I just, like, it hit me like maybe a couple of weeks ago. Like, we're literally walking around holding on to beliefs that are hundreds of years old, you know, and life is totally different now. Like, the amount of technology we have, the just the way that like civil liberties have changed and things like that, and we're still walking around like it's 400 or 500 years ago in a lot of ways, especially I feel like as women. Let's see, it took me a very long time to realize that truth. I'm learning the same thing too. My self worth is really transforming. Not only allowing myself to receive the best, knowing that the catalog of life is abundant. Had self esteem for so long and had no idea. Yeah, yeah. See, I know I'm not alone. It's like a lot of us, especially again, like I see it a lot in women. Like, yeah, men have this issue too. But again, I'm not a man. So I can only relate so much, but I do recognize a lot in women where we settle and just kind of say, well, okay, this might be the best that I can get. Um, like, it reminds me, there was some book I was reading. Oh, I can't remember. And there was a story in there where the guy was talking about his daughter, and his daughter wanted to go to Italy for the summer. And she had like, he had taught his children how to manifest things. And she had this exact, like, detailed list of what she wanted to experience. Um, And so he taught them to, you put it out there and you focus on what it is that you want, and you know that life will bring it to you. And an opportunity came up where she would be able to go to Italy for the summer like she wanted, but not all of her qualifications were met. And it actually required work for her to be able to achieve that. And so one of the things I've learned is that when you really want something, it's not going to be a struggle to receive it when the true opportunity comes your way. And so she went to her dad and she was like, oh, well, it's not everything I wanted, but it's pretty much what I wanted. And it's going to require this, this, and that. And he was like, she's like, can you help me? Like, can you help me pay for this or whatever? And he was like, no. He's like, no, I'm not going to help you pay for this because it's not what you wanted. And I believe that if you just wait and be patient, what you want will really come forward. And so, she decided not to take that opportunity, and she waited and she just continued to do like the practices that he taught her, which was just focusing on what it is you want, being grateful that, it's already in the works and coming your way. And not too much long after, she ended up in a situation where she manifested exactly what she wanted. And it didn't require any work from her at all. It didn't require any struggle or anything. And it was literally to a T exactly what she wanted in her trip to Italy, like exactly, locations she wanted to go to and different things like that. And that again is just another example of just settling and choosing not to settle and just choosing to realize that you're at the table. You don't have to go and force something to happen. Um, you don't have to go make anything happen. If you put it out there and, like, again, put it out to life and say that you want to experience something, let life bring it to you. And then when life brings you that opportunity, whatever work is involved won't feel like work. It won't feel like a struggle. It will just happen easily. And so I'm really starting to understand what that means when people say that, like, what you want will come easily to you. Because I don't know, for a long time, it just kind of felt like that was too magical in a sense. Like, oh, yeah, if I just ask that I want this car, it's just going to, like, whoop, materialize right there in the parking lot in front of me. And it's like, no, you put it out there that you want it, and life will bring you the opportunity for that to happen. But when life brings you that opportunity, you can't be afraid to take the action and take it, you know, or receive it, I should say. And so that's the other part of the battle is like when that opportunity comes, sometimes you'll be like, oh, it's too good to be true. That happens a lot. And it's like, no, it's not too good to be true. This is what you asked for. Now take the action and let it come and materialize for you. So that's something that I've been working on a lot lately is, oh, my foot fell asleep. Self-esteem and self-worth. And yeah, and it's crazy because I know in that last video I posted, I talked about like self-sabotage and how I felt like I kept distracting myself. And one of the things I realized was when I felt like I wanted to quit YouTube, um, months and months ago, when I made like that whole video about me quitting YouTube and stuff like that, I remember somebody commenting and telling me how narcissistic I was and self obsessed I was, like obsessed with myself because all I ever talked about on YouTube was myself or whatever, whatever. And that comment hit me really hard. And so it sent me in another direction where I decided, okay, I'm not going to talk about myself that much anymore. I'm going to really make it about everybody else and make it about the people. And y'all, I was so miserable. Like, I came out with this whole Dominion Collective idea and stuff like that. And I was miserable because I had lowered my self-worth. You know what I mean? Like I allowed that person's comment to like internally hurt me and make me feel like I was a bad person because I was trying to love myself and love who I was. And I was doing that at the time through self-study, like studying my birth chart and numerology and things like that, and talking about just self-study and studying yourself and loving yourself. I was talking about that kind of stuff a lot. And when someone was like, oh, well, you're bad, you're narcissistic because of this, and that. I'm like, and it was crazy because I made a video that was talking about how we're all narcissistic. You just have levels, like degrees of it. Like some people are so narcissistic they can't connect with people at all, and they just use and manipulate others. You know, that's not that's an extreme level of narcissism. But a healthy dose of narcissism is recognizing that you are the center of your worlds. You know, you create your we all have our own worlds and realities we create, and you are the center of that. That's like you can't get around that because every decision you make is going to affect the people who are in your world. And I was just like, it took me months, you guys, to finally like stop sabotaging myself in that way and accept that, hey, I need to know who I am and I need to love myself. I can't be of service to anyone else if I don't know who I am. If I'm always focused on what other people need and I'm not taking care of myself and I'm not meeting my desires, I'm not going to be happy. And if I'm not happy, I'm not going to do my best work. You know what I mean? So I mean, that's even another thing. Like, don't let people tell you you're narcissistic because you love yourself and you put yourself first. I heard something the other day and I told my husband, and I was like, man, that shit hit me like a ton of bricks. Um, if you don't take care of you, then you're not here. Like nobody else, like your mom, your dad, your husband, your girlfriend, your spouse, whatever, if you know, they have no like only you're only here because of you. Like, you know what I mean? Like Shanae is only here because Shanae is here. So if I don't take care of Shanae and Shanae dies, there's no more Shanae. You know what I mean? So my husband has no effect really on if Shanae is here. That's my decision. And if I choose to not take care of myself because I don't see my worth, I won't be here anymore. So I depend on me. You know what I mean? And when I heard that, I was like, God damn it. Like I've been living my life so much for other people and what other people think and what they're gonna say and are they gonna like this? And it's just like those people aren't the ones keeping me alive, you know? Last time I checked, Shanae is breathing because Shanae has these lungs and her heart is beating because she has this heart. But that person on YouTube on the other end of that screen who's writing that comment that's hurting my feelings, they don't affect whether I live or die today, you know? So I just like really had to realize I have to do things because I want to do them, not because someone else wants me to. Like if somebody asks me to do something and I don't want to do it, I can say no. Like, I learned that no is a complete sentence. Like, I can say no. And it's crazy because, yeah, I've been married to my husband for almost 5 years now, and he does this. That's how he lives his life. If he doesn't want to do something, he doesn't do it. And he's been like the epitome of an example of living life the way you want to live it. And I've been sitting here like still trying to people please. And he catches me all the time, and he's like, he tells me and he talks shit and he'll let me know. And I just be like, whatever. And it turns out the whole time, like, man, he was really he knew. Because at the end of the day, you only have you. Like, yeah, you have other people, other friendships and things like that, but as far as you being good, you're in control of that, you know? Um, let me see these comments. Yes, healthy levels of narcissism. It's not narcissistic. It's narcissistic to talk about yourself. People are too much. Exactly. um, had a guy I dated convince me I was a narcissist because I always focus on making sure I'm good first, and people hate when people. Yes, people do hate when you love yourselves. They call you selfish. Ugh, like, no. And it's even I'm even learning I need to put myself even before like my dogs, because I consider like right now my dogs are my children, right? You guys, I can't tell you, like, we've had these dogs for I don't know 7 8 months now, um, and for most of those months, I would wake up in the morning, and before I even took care of myself, like before I even peed, I would get up and make sure they went out and peed. And there would be I would like it would I would have moments where I would just blow up and get frustrated and just be like, I'm done with these dogs. And that's because I was literally putting their life before mine. Let me tell you, things have shifted. Now in the morning, I get up and I take care of me. I use the bathroom, I wash my face, I brush my teeth, I put on my makeup, I put my, get my hair together, I get dressed because I realize that I like looking put together when I leave my house. And I can't tell you how many times I would look a hot mess, roll out of bed, and I would run into people, didn't even brush my teeth, got morning breath and all that, and people trying to talk to you in the morning and like say hi to your dogs and stuff, and I'm looking a hot mess. And I'm just feeling like, damn, this is embarrassing as hell. And that's because I was putting my dogs first. And you know what I learned? My dogs know how to hold their pee. You know, they're sitting in their crates because they're still puppies. They can't be roaming out in the middle of the night. And they're good. They know not to pee in the house. They know not to pee in their crate. So if I take 10 minutes to get myself together, that's not hurting anybody. In fact, it's making the situation better. I feel better when I go out. I run into people. I feel very confident. I feel very just, because there's something about being put together. Like even now, like coming on YouTube, like I used to come on YouTube looking a hot mess sometimes, guys. I don't know why y'all didn't say anything, but I used to come on here looking a hot mess, and man, it makes a difference, especially as a woman, when you put yourself together and you take that time to take care of yourself. You just present better. Um, See, remember when you were in front of the world as a content creator, it's easy for other people to unfairly judge and critique you. Yeah, for sure. They are the real narcissists, really. Their mindset is it's my job to take and your job to give. They hate when you practice self care and love yourself first. Yep, people do. They call you selfish all the time, especially if you are a woman who has children and things like that. If you put yourself before your children in that sense, like making sure you're good, that's a no-no. Or if you're married and you put yourself before your husband, it's like this again, for women, it's like this belief system that stems back hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, where it's like you're just expected to put everybody else above you. But yet a lot of times the men are raised to put themselves above others. Why is it that, I mean, you think about even how men do relationships a lot of times, and how like they'll go out and they'll get as many women as they want, and they'll be dating a whole bunch of women at the same time, figuring out what it is that they want. And yet women a lot of the times will just kind of be like, okay, well, oh my God, this guy is interested in me, that's amazing, and they kind of settle because they don't, how many women do you really, really hear that go and date around a whole bunch of people at the same time until they find what they really want? It's not really heard of. And when they do it, they're called sluts, right? But if a man does it, it's just called a man assessing what's out there. You know what I mean? And it's just like, no, it's just men are taught differently. Men, they start ahead of the finish line in a lot of ways. or ahead of the starting point. Like, imagine that you're at a race, and as a woman, you have to start 50 feet behind the starting line, and the man gets to start on the starting line. You know what I mean? In a lot of ways, just the way that we've been raised. And again, it's like, it's old beliefs, y'all, that like are hundreds of years old. Talk about generational curses. Like living your life because your grandma lived that way, and her great grandmother lived that way, and that's how it's always been. And so, like, you're going to continue to live that way, even though things are totally different now. Just don't make no goddamn sense to me. Yes, we've been conditioned to be selfless all the time, even when it's unhealthy. Men are taught to be selfish. Yep, men are taught to be selfish, and women are taught to be unselfish. And as soon as a woman becomes selfish, everybody has a problem, except for the woman who becomes selfish. Oh man. But yeah, so that's been my latest thing, like always saying to myself, like, I am the table. Because I'm not gonna lie, I still have a lot of moments where um I catch myself thinking I should do things a certain way to please other people. And then I have to stop myself and say, okay, you're the table. What is it that you want? You know? And it affects your relationships too. It affects everything, just that idea, because you start to look at people differently. Like you start to see how you're always trying to please someone else or bring something to them. And it's just kind of like, well, what if for a second I step back and I just ask what I want in this relationship? And is that person offering to me like what I want? And if not, um, what I'm learning is, because I mean, there's a way to go about these things, but one of the things I'm learning is you also have to realize that like like for me, like when I started realizing like how much I people please and how much I am trying to just be so selfless and just take care of everyone else before me. And I mean, to the point where I'm realizing there's certain things that I've wanted in my life that I didn't even want. It was just I thought I was supposed to want that because I was raised to think I should want that, or because somebody in my family or somebody just in my circle is kind of like, well, don't you want that? Don't you want to do things this way? And it's kind of like, oh yeah, maybe I should. And it's like, no, I actually don't want to. I don't want to do things that way. Um, but I realized that you have to at some point recognize that the beliefs you held on to because maybe you were just raised that way and you experienced certain things in life or whatever, um, they've created the life that you live now. And so you can't really get mad at the people who treat you the way that they treat you. Like that's another thing I learned. Like you can't get mad at people for treating you the way they treat you when you treat yourself the same way. So if you have to raise your standards with yourself first before you can expect others around you to reflect that back to you. Like you can't just have an aha moment and say, I am the table, and then start going to people and being like, I'm the table, you need to treat me like this. Because they're gonna look at the way you treat yourself and be like, well, why the hell would I treat you that way when you don't even treat yourself that way? You have to start with yourself first, and then you'll start to see that the people around you may shift. And if they don't shift, those relationships will fall away. Because one thing I notice that people do when they do come into that kind of understanding that they are special, they are important, that they're the center of their world, that they are the table, they just like they try to do a 180 and really try to like act brand new in that sense, and they go and cut off a bunch of relationships with people. And to me, I'm like, you almost kind of do that prematurely, because then they go and try to like attract certain relationships into their lives where they feel like people are going to treat them better. And for a minute it'll look like that, but then as time goes on they start to realize they're back in the same boat they were in before. And I think a big part of that is because you have to do the inner work. Like you can't just like, I don't know, like I see a lot of women who will just go and say, okay, I'm gonna start wearing makeup, I'm gonna put clothes on, I'm gonna keep my hair done, keep my nails done, and all that stuff. But they haven't fixed the internal stuff. And so they keep still dealing with the same issues all the time. They're just pretty well dealing with the issues. You know what I mean? So, because that was something that was starting to occur with me. Like, because I think when you realize that, one of the things you start, I don't know, as women, or at least I've noticed, one of the first things we start doing is we start taking care of our physical appearance, I guess. Um, but you can't forget to do the internal stuff, because it's the internal stuff that's attracting all of the external stuff. You can be pretty and still attract crappy situations and relationships and things like that in your life, because you're ugly inside in that sense. So you have to raise your standards with yourself. before you can expect anybody else to treat you better, and before you can expect life to bring you something better. Because again, I mean, either way you see it, you're the king or queen at your table, and if you still have that low self esteem, life is still looking at you as if you're the table. And so if you have a low self esteem and that's what you're putting out there, life is going to bring you the lowest of the lowest fruit. It's not even going to try to bring you the high fruit, that's the ripest and the most sweetest and things like that. It's not going to try to bring you that stuff because you don't even see yourself that way. Why would it even bother? Again, it goes back to that idea like it's just going to go get what's easy because that's what you ask for, that's what you accept. So you have to change your own standards first before you can expect somebody to treat you better, or expect better situations, or to even expect it's like wanting to manifest $1 million and be a millionaire. But if you don't have the self esteem to even think that you deserve that, you're never going to manifest it no matter how much you think about it. That's why manifestation doesn't work all the time because if you're not in the mind state to really accept it, why would life bring it to you in the first place? Not gonna happen. So, I guess you can say quarantine time has allowed me to learn a lot. Spent 20, how old am I? 28? 28 years of my life trying to please other people and do what other people want and be miserable the whole goddamn time because I know that damn well is not what I want in life. And I'm so busy just trying to make sure other people are good. Especially being a content creator, you really have to have a strong mindset. There are so many content creators out there, me included, that create stuff just to go viral, create stuff to fit an algorithm, create stuff to make other people happy. Let me tell you, the people that I find to be the most successful in social media are not people who necessarily have millions of followers. They're people who could have 20,000, 2,000, and but because they know who they are and they're so set in their self and they do things because that's what they're interested in, they're good, they're successful. People purchase their whatever they put out there, people support them monetarily, emotionally, mentally, whatever. People support them because they're not just trying to please. Like, people can read bullshit a mile away. I'm sure plenty of people have been able to look at my channel and be like, man, she's all over the place, like, what is she? And a lot of times it would be because I would be wanting to do what I do, but then I want to try to please other people, and they want to try to say, that's why people do clickbait, clickbait titles and stuff, because they're trying to please people, and they think that if they please people and they get the views, then people are going to stay forever. But notice how a lot of those channels, as soon as they say something out of character or whatever and they reveal their true self, people unsubscribe real quick or unfollow real quick. You gotta that's like an example of just, you gotta know who you are. You have to know what you want and not be unapologetic about it. Like, there's a woman I follow on Instagram, her name is Alex Wolf, and she is obsessed with technology. And she's obsessed with talking about how technology, works in our lives and how it's negative, but it also has positives. She doesn't sit there and like post outfit of the days and things on Instagram just to get attention so people will follow, and then hopefully, they'll look at her more interesting posts where she actually talks about technology and how it affects humanity. Like, she doesn't give a fuck. She'd be like, I'm not doing all of that. She posts what she wants to post, and it's always about technology and humanity and like psychology and stuff like that. Like, that's what she posts. And she doesn't have a whole bunch of subscribers or followers on Instagram. I think she's at like 20 something thousand. But let me tell you, this chick, she makes a lot of money. She is fully funded and taken care of, because when she does release something, she releases it with heart. She will spend years working on a book or a 15-minute video. She'll spend months at a time working on something that she's interested in. And because of that, she has companies that want to work with her and get her insight and have her consult. She has, programs and things that comes out that people attend and stuff like that. And that's because she's focused on what she's interested in. She didn't go and say, well, this is catchy, this is what's going to make money, let me do that. She said, that's not what I'm interested in. This is what I'm interested in. So it's just crazy. Like when I look back, because it's like I've been following different people who do this, and I just wasn't doing it. Like for the longest time on YouTube, I was just like, it was like a constant battle between this is who I want to be and this is who I actually am behind closed doors, but this is who I have to portray. You know, something. It's like you wear a mask to please others, so you can get that seat at the table and feel like you made it. But then it's like you get there and you feel like you made it. You're at the table, but you realize you're at the table with a bunch of fake people who are all wearing masks and won't reveal who they really are. You know, so I just realized I don't want to live life that way. You know, I'm good having just the however many subscribers I have now on YouTube. Like it doesn't matter to me. You know, like do I want to see the channel grow? Of course, but I want to see it grow because people are interested in what I'm talking about, and they're interested in me. They like me. They like my real personality, not like some personality where I'm trying to act like some wise sage who knows all this stuff. I don't know everything. I've just now realized at 28 years old that I had low self esteem and low self worth. Like, come on now. I don't know everything. You know what I mean? It took me years to realize that and to actually face it and be like, okay, yeah, that's me. I've got that issue. I've got to work on that. But yeah, it's crazy how you can live your whole life for other people. And it's like now I'm at the point where I'm just like, I want to do I want to do what I want to do. It's a good feeling, but I still do fall into that trap. I have to catch myself every day. It happens every day. Mm. Almost happened. Like it even happened today. Like this morning, I was like feeling bad because I was like, oh, I know the dogs have to pee. So today I didn't fully put myself together. And when I came back inside, I was like, God damn it. I did that again. Where, I've been doing good for like 2 or 3 weeks in a row where every day I was getting up and taking care of myself first. And then today I was just like, oh, but I feel so bad. You can't allow yourself to feel bad. You really can't. Like, can't allow yourself to feel ashamed or guilty. I have like a huge guilty conscience, I guess, where I would feel guilty. Oh, I feel bad. It's like one thing I say all the time. And again, this happens between with me and my husband all the time, especially with our dogs. Where I'll be like yesterday, we went to celebrate Mother's Day, at my mom's because she lives up the street. And normally we take the dogs because we don't have a yard. We live in an apartment, and we like to let them run free in my mom and dad's yard. And we've been doing that, I think 2 or 3 weeks in a row we've taken them. And with quarantine and everything, like we've been getting to the point like we don't get out the house much, and so we don't get a break from the dogs, and so it kind of just feels like they're always up our butt and we never get time to breathe. And so yesterday we made the decision that we were just going to go and not bring the dogs. And I can't tell you guys how many times I was like, oh, I feel bad. Like they have to sit in here by themselves while we're gone, and they could go out and run in the yard and blah, blah, blah. My husband was like, I don't feel bad. I don't feel like dealing with it. I don't want to have to babysit them right now because they're still puppies. So we still have to watch them. They're not super mature. They go buck wild, and you have to rein them in sometimes. And you don't get to fully enjoy yourself. Like when we go over there, it's kind of like, yeah, we're here with you guys, but at the same time, we're really watching our dogs to make sure they don't like mess up your yard or mess up your house or whatever. And so yesterday, I actually got to relax. Like I got to sit in the sun by the pool and just relax and just really like get into conversation and stuff because I wasn't worried about my dogs. But the whole time leading up to that, I was like, I feel bad. And that's something I would do a lot. I would feel bad. Oh, I feel bad because of this. I feel bad because of that. I feel bad because I chose to do something that I wanted over what, somebody expected of me or what I may have expected from myself in my people pleasing ways. So just a lot of big ahas where I'm just like, what do you want, Shanae? And go do that. If they don't want to do it, then oh well, you go do it anyway. If they don't like it, then that is just too bad. Not everybody's gonna like what I like, and not everybody's gonna like what I have to say, or what I do, or what I wear, or whatever. Not everybody's gonna like it, and that's okay. You know, learning that it's okay. And if somebody asks me something, like if they want me to film a video and I don't want to, I can say no. Like, you know what I mean? If I don't want to talk about a topic, I can say no. If I don't want to go somewhere, If I don't want to do something, I learned that a lot because I am such a sucker. Like my mom would be like, "You want to do this?" And I don't always want to do it, and then I'll be like, "Oh, but I feel bad because she really wants to," and then I'll go do it. I can say no, and I've been practicing that. There's been certain things that I say no to, like with family and just people in my circle, and I'll just be like, "No, I don't really want to do that," and I'll feel bad. I really will. But then I feel better because I didn't go and do something that I didn't want to do in the first place. So, yeah, be selfish, be narcissistic. I don't care what anybody says. Like, I can't believe I really let that comment get to me. Somebody saying that I'm a narcissist and, oh, I'm not following you anymore because you're narcissistic and all you talk about, all you care about is yourself. Well, bye. Bye. Go be in your own world where you're so selfless that everybody just walks all over you and you're a goddamn doormat. Bye. Go be that by yourself because I can't do that anymore. Like, I just cannot. I cannot carry I can't carry everybody else's emotions anymore. Feelings, likes, dislikes, wants, expectations. I can't carry any of that anymore because it is draining. And it's so draining that I don't have the energy to do what I want. And then I end up miserable because my life is turning into a goddamn freaking fight to sit at a table that I don't even want to sit at because I have my own damn table. Like, I don't need your table. Like, this is my world. This is my reality. I'm going to live it how I want to now. In the past, it was like, what do they want? What do the people want? What's going to get me the likes? What's going to get me the views? What's going to get my channel to grow? Oh well. Like, y'all, I have carried so much for some. That's why I got so big. Like, you guys didn't see me when I was at my biggest. I was like 185 pounds. Like, when I got married, I was so big. I was just, and I refused to see it. Like, I refused to see like how, like, I was depressed. It was horrible. And it's been years. It's been 5 years since I've gotten married. Well, almost five. This month will be 5 years. And I'm still releasing the weight. You know what I mean? I'm still letting go of the weight. And the only reason why my body's holding on to the weight is it's literally me still holding on to people's expectations of me and people what they think I should want. And I'm just learning that I have to say, fuck it. That's not what I want. So I noticed that, like, it's crazy because, okay, so in the beginning of the year, I started working out really hard. I was working out every day, 24, like every day, 7 days a week. I was running and then doing weight training. So I'd be in the gym for almost 2 hours every day. And it took me 2 months to lose 10 pounds. Let me tell y'all, during quarantine, that shit came right back. And you know how upset I was about that? Like, what the hell? Like, I worked hard for 2 months. Like, I was working hard. I got sick 2 or 3 times within that 2 month period because I was working my body so hard and to try to force this weight to come off. And one of the things I realized is that the weight the weight falls off easily on my body when I just allow myself to release what is not mine. It's like I've literally been holding on to what's not mine. And that's what all this excess weight is. You know what I mean? And a lot of us women do it. We hold on to a lot of different things. It's stagnant energy. That's what it is. When you have all this fat on your body, it's literally just blocked energy that can't go anywhere, you know, because it's like, how people say they're empaths? Yeah, that's all cool and all, feeling people's emotions, but you can feel somebody's emotions and let it go. But along with a lot of women I see in my life, hold on to people's shit. Like, you'll feel somebody's energy and you'll hold on to it like it's yours and you'll carry it like it's yours, or like, it's even the example of like somebody is sad and you feel like it's your job to make them happy. It's not your job to make them happy. That's their job. It's nobody else's job in my life to make me happy but me, and it's not my job to make anybody else happy. It's only my job to make me happy. And so it's like for years, it's like I feel people's energies, I feel people's emotions, and I take it on. Like, oh, that's my responsibility. It's like the saying I came across the other day, not my monkeys, not my circus kind of thing. Not my circus, not my monkeys. Like, it's not my business. It's not my problem. It's not my life. I didn't manifest that. You did. So you deal with it. Now, if I choose to want to help you because I see a solution and I can give you the solution, then sure. But that's my choice. It's not my job. And so I took on a lot of that, like where I felt like I had to make all these people happy. And you just can't live life that way. So, I mean, I put on a lot of weight, and it was within a short period of time. I think it took me maybe a year or two to put on like 60 pounds of excess weight because I'm only 5'2". I'm not supposed to be as big. 184 pounds being 5'2", that is crazy. And when I look back on my wedding pictures, like, let me see, I think I still have my wedding pictures on my phone. Y'all, I look like I was going to explode out of my body. Like I keep these pictures in my phone so I can see um, just how big I was. Like, let me see if you guys can see this. Like this was me on my wedding day. Like, do y'all see that? This is me on my wedding day. Do y'all see, like, come on. Total difference right now. Like, my eyes look chinky and small. Like, you guys, I put on so much weight. It was ridiculous. And again, it's like I'm still shedding that. And the times I've noticed where the weight drops is when I really start focusing on me. You know what I mean? Like when I really start, and it's, you have to take care of yourself. You have to do what you want. Like, that's what I'm realizing. Like that's the strongest thing in my life right now. So I'm not going to do that anymore. That whole, like, when I was exercising every day, like, y'all, I got sick because my body couldn't take it. It was too much stress on my body to be running a mile every day and doing weight training. That's just not the way I want to live my life. I don't want to spend 2 hours in the gym every day. Like when I look towards the future and I'm like, what do I want my days to look like? I can tell you, I do not want to be in the gym for 2 hours of my day every day. Now, like 3-4 days a week, doing different exercises, maybe. I like working out. It makes me feel good. Um, I like to be able to release energy that way. I think it's a good way to, like, if you are somebody who feels like you're empathic and you feel people's emotions and stuff, and you know that you may tend to hold on to people's stuff, I think it's good to go and release that. There's many ways you can release that, but for me, working out is a good way, but it doesn't mean I have to work out 2 hours every day to do that. I need to be able to just release it on my own. You know what I mean? um, you're so awesome for that. Well, thank you for not apologizing for your light. A lot of times people want us to dim our light because it makes them feel insecure. Yeah, very true. Never cater to the insecurities of others. It's not our job to rehabilitate people. Yeah, that's a big thing. I used to be a big fix it. Like, I want to fix you. Like, tell me all your problems so I can fix you. But then the ironic part is you tell them how to solve their problems and they don't solve them. They just keep coming to you with the same problems all the time. And you're like, I just gave you the solution. Why aren't you following what I gave you? And it's like, why am I spending so much time trying to help people who don't even want to help themselves? Like, that's a waste of time. And that's what I'm starting to realize. Like, I need to start charging people for this stuff because I do have a lot of wisdom. I'm very good at problem solving. And if you want to keep coming to me with your bullshit and you don't want to actually, like, take my advice, I'm gonna start charging you per hour. Like, that's how I need to start seeing that. If you want me to listen to your fuckery for 2 hours so that you can tell me all of the BS going on in your life, no, I need to charge you for that because my time is important. Okay. That's something I'm starting to see on myself a lot. Like, because I used to, again, be that big, I have to fix you. Like, you're broken. Let me put you back together. Ooh, yes, I am beautiful. Thank you. If you overexert your body, you'll crash faster. I love dancing. Yes, I've been dancing a little bit too. I don't have any rhythm. Okay, I have a little bit of rhythm, but not a lot of rhythm. But I'm like, that's something that I just, like, would be so, like, reserved and, like, oh, I'm not gonna, like, I'm too rigid. Like, I've been dancing a lot at my house. Pilates, yes. I used to do reformer Pilates. I did that for about 3 months. I just didn't feel like paying for it anymore, but it was fun. It was fun being on that reformer machine. 2 hours a day, yes, super stressful. My body, yeah, I couldn't take it. It was a lot. It was fun, but it was a lot, and, like, even when I would go with my husband, he'd be done in like 30 minutes and he'd be like sitting there like, he'd be like, give me the keys. I'm going back to the house. You can sit in here and keep going. Because I just be working out and like, I gotta get this fat to burn off. And I'm not gonna lie, my body was looking like really, really good and stuff. I was starting to lose a lot of water weight and like a little bit of fat and stuff. But it's always been in the back of my mind that it should not be that hard to lose weight. Like, in my opinion, it should not be hard to drop to the weight that your body's naturally meant to be at and stay there. If it's a struggle, then that means you're not programmed to experience what it is you're trying to get. That's another thing I learned. Like, if something is a struggle for you, that's because the way your mind is programmed right now, it's not programmed to go to that destination. It's like you keep trying to drive to California, but your GPS is set on Georgia. And so as much as you keep saying, I want to go to California, somehow your car is going in the direction of Georgia. That's kind of how it is with your mindset. Like, if your mindset is set to a certain destination, it doesn't matter if you want to go experience something else, you're not going to get there unless you change the destination. So, like, for me, right now, the way my mind has been programmed, it's not a destination for me to get back to my natural weight. It's not, and so that's why I have to work really hard, to try to get the weight to fall off. But I've noticed in the times when weight did fall off, like there was like a year where I think I dropped like 30 pounds. And a majority of that was because, at first I tried to say it was because I was vegan for like a year. I would not recommend doing that. That's just my opinion. It doesn't work for everybody. But I originally attributed it to me being vegan, but then I realized, no, it was because during that time, I wasn't allowing, because I have a comfort food thing where I like tend to gravitate towards foods that make me feel comforted because, I'm taking on so much crap from everybody else. It's kind of like, the best way I explained it was like, imagine every time you take something like that's not yours from somebody else, imagine it's a toxin that's entering your body. And the only way that your body can protect you from toxins when you have so many is to create fat, because then the fat will store the toxins. And so for me, that's how I began to understand why I gained so much weight. I was taking on so much from others. It was toxic to my body. Your body can only eliminate but so much toxins at once, especially if you're bringing in toxic food as it is, like toxic just crap, which I was eating at that time. I was eating a lot of fast food, a lot of takeout, a lot of like just crap. And so I was creating a lot of toxic waste in my body. Only way your body can protect you at that point is to create fat. And, the only way for me to really lose the fat is to release the toxins, right? And a lot of people will turn to the physical ways, like, oh, I have to fast, I have to diet, I'm going to go vegan, I'm going to work out a lot so I can release the toxins. But believe it or not, if you change your mindset and you allow yourself to live in a non-toxic way, mentally and emotionally, you'll find your body just drops the weight very easily. And that's what I experienced in that year where my body just shed 30 pounds. And since then, I kind of cycled back into some of my ways where and that's where I talked about like self-sabotage. I kind of cycled back, and that's why it's been hard to lose the rest, or release the rest, I should say, because that's another thing I learned. If you say you want to lose weight, oftentimes when you lose something, you want it back. Like if you lose your wallet, you want to find it. So stop saying you want to lose weight, because that means you just want to find it later. And I don't want to go find that weight later. But yeah, it's a lot of it is just mindset. Ugh, it's crazy. I go to the spa. That's my guilty pleasure, but it's healthy for you. Massages help drain that stuff. Yeah, I got a massage two or three good times. And the first time I got that massage, man, I felt like so much stuff was released. I felt like crap the next day. Like I really did. So much stuff was released. It was crazy. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways to release toxins from your body. But the thing is if you don't change your mindset and you just start doing all that stuff, like you start working out and doing all this physical stuff, but you're not doing the internal stuff, it's not going to make a difference, because you're still going to be carrying everybody else's shit. And so it's still going to generate a lot of toxins within you. You know what I'm saying? Hope that makes sense. Yeah. So I'm just learning it's not just physical stuff you do. It has to be also the mental and emotional work. So don't just go get your liposuction and your surgeries and do all this working out and all this other stuff, because that stuff is great. Like working out, going to the spa, drinking tons of water, eating good food, that stuff is great. But how many people do you see do those things and their weight doesn't change, you know, and their situation doesn't change? It's because you can't just do the physical stuff. In fact, I mean, the physical, you have to think about how reality actually works. Everything comes from energy, right? Everything literally comes from nothing. I mean, if you study quantum physics in any sort of fashion, that's one thing you will learn, is that everything comes from nothing. And so if you're trying to change things using the physical stuff is the effect, So it's like you're not changing the cause, you're just moving around the effects. And so you really have to get to the cause if you want the effect to actually change. And so the cause for all of us, again, is, you think about, it's energetic. It's that mindset. It's that belief system. It's, the ways you've been doing things for so many years, the ways you've been thinking for so many years, and perceiving, really, because it's like you perceive life in a certain way. And so you're going to keep repeating the same stuff over and over and over again. So for me, I'm like almost kind of doing an experiment where like I enjoy working out. So I'm going to work out like a few times a week, but I'm not going to do nothing crazy like I was doing in the beginning of this year. And I'm going to see like by the end of the year what happens. You know what I mean? Because again, I'm not against I'm not against physical stuff. I take vitamins, supplements, herbs, things like that. I drink my water. I try my best to do my fruits and vegetables. But lately, I don't know, the quality at the grocery store has not been the best to me. um, I do the physical stuff, but I decided to just really shift to the internal stuff and let that stuff come up. And it's crazy, like even yesterday, like I was releasing just a lot of stuff because again, a lot of this stuff has just been hitting me, realizations. And so I'll get triggered, like something, like I'll recognize that I'm being triggered to put my mask on, because that's kind of like how it works. So what I've learned is like, it stems from when you're a child and your parents or the role people who played those parental roles, um, did something at some point that made you feel like they hurt you. So you perceived it as they hurt me, right? So think of it as like your DNA. You know how people say like your DNA doesn't necessarily determine how your life is going to be, because you can kind of turn on and turn off genes in that sense. So think about it the same way, like you're born with a specific mindset that you inherit from the generations before you. And you can turn on and turn off certain beliefs and ideas and things like that. And so as a child, you're born with this DNA mindset. And when things happen between you and your parents, it triggers and turns on certain mindset beliefs. And then so from that point when you're a child, you begin to, in a sense, put on a mask to protect yourself from experiencing those things again, because you start to see life as happening to you, people as doing things to you, as hurting you. And that's the last thing you want to do. And in reality, it happens when you're being yourself. So what happens is, as a child, you do something that's just your personality, it's just who you are. You wanted to do something, and somebody didn't like it. And so they reacted to you in a way because they were triggered, right? So they reacted to you in a way that made you feel like you were hurt and you couldn't be yourself. And so what happens is you start to put on a mask. And this mask creates its own personality. So it's literally like whenever you get triggered, you put this mask on and you're no longer yourself. You start being who you think you need to be so that you can please that person and they won't get upset with you and you don't have to feel the pain of feeling hurt. And so a lot of the work is realizing, what those initial kind of like triggers were, and not even saying the initial triggers, but realizing like what is it that you fear. So for a lot of us, it's rejection, it's abandonment, it's betrayal, it's humiliation, and it's really also feeling like things are not fair, like something's unjust. Those are what I'm learning so far, are like the 5 major things that we fear happening to us. We don't want to be rejected. We don't want to be abandoned. We don't want to be betrayed. We don't want to feel humiliated. And we don't want to feel like something's happening to us that's just not right and not fair. And so when those things happen as children, when you experience something like that, you put on this mask so that it's kind of like, okay, well, if I walk around in the world like this, I'm not going to get hurt anymore. think about like how many Black people feel like they have to walk around life on eggshells because they don't want to trigger a white cop, right? So you have a lot of people who feel like, oh, driving while Black is unsafe, right? And so it's like you put on this mask where you feel like you act in a certain way, and everybody has a different mask. Some people will, yes, officer, how are you doing? And I got my hands on the wheel, and you can see everything. And then you have other people who put on this other mask of like defensiveness, where they feel like they got to tell the officer off as soon as they got pulled over, even if they were in the wrong. It doesn't matter. They feel like they got to tell the officer off and say, I know my rights and blah, blah, blah. There's different masks that you put on to protect yourself. It's the same thing for everybody in life. It doesn't, it's just like something happened between the years of being conceived and 7 years old. Something happened that awakened that DNA blueprint in your mind to cause you to think and perceive a certain way. And because you perceive things a certain way, you put on a mask to protect yourself, and you act differently. I mean, why do you think, like, especially as kids, your parents might say, oh, you act different around your friends than you do around family? You know, that's not a coincidence. In reality, you have one true being, one true self, right? It's not all these other different personalities that you act around other people, whether it's your friends, your coworkers. You act different at work than you do at home, than you do out at a party. There's all these different masks that you put on, and it stems from childhood. And so when you begin to do that inner work and realizing when you put on these masks, it changes your life. It really, it does. You start to allow yourself to just be yourself more often, and you recognize you're the table, and you start acting like it. So yeah, that's something that I want to talk on a lot more, because that's something that for me, I realize when I'm triggered to put on that mask. And I do recognize, like, I act different around my mom than I might just when I'm around my husband, than I do like if I'm on YouTube, or if I'm, like, I don't know, encountering somebody while walking my dogs, or if I'm in the store. There's times when you might get triggered in a certain way and you act different. And I'm learning all the different ways that I do that, and I catch myself a lot. And I just be like, man, did you really want to act that way? No. So why did you? Oh, because I didn't want to experience that person, blah, 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 blah. You know? And so it's like you have to change your perception. You have to change that story that you have that says, if I do this, so and so is going to do this to me. You have to change that story, and again begin to recognize, I'm the table. This is my reality. I am the creator of this world. I'm going to do things that I want to do. And I recognize that if somebody reacts a certain way to me, it's because they have their own triggers and I'm triggering them. It just changes the way you act in the world. Again, like for me, I stopped taking on other people's stuff and feeling like it was my fault. Like, oh, it's my fault that they felt this way. No, it's not. That's their own shit they got going on. They have their own belief systems and perceptions about life that is causing them to see what I did as this way. And it has nothing to do with me. Because again, like, that's what happens as a child. You feel like you being yourself caused that person to feel hurt or whatever, and they reacted to you in that way. And so, okay, now I won't be myself around that person. I'm gonna put on this facade so that they feel better. It's like how you said dimming your light for others' insecurities. That's essentially what you learn from being a child. Like from the point you're born, that's what you start learning. Let me dim my light and not be who I am, so that you can feel better about yourself. And the more you realize how easily triggered you are to do that, you stop doing it time and time again. You start realizing all the situations where you do that, where you dim your light, and you stop dimming your light, you start shining. And then you start realizing that when you shine, you start shining into the darkness of other people's lives, and either they won't like it and they'll leave, or it'll start revealing to them who they truly are, and they'll change. So that's the power of letting your light shine. Probably why, you got this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine song. It used to be one of my favorite songs as a kid. But there's a lot of truth to it. You do have to let your light shine. You can't dim yourself for other people, because then nothing changes. That's why the world is in the state it's in today, because you got a whole bunch of people who are afraid to be themselves, and everybody's just trying to protect themselves. And so we're all walking around with masks, and we're all just doing some bull crap And that's just why the world's in the state it's in now, if you ask me. Um, and so the more people you have that are just unapologetic about being themselves, the good and the bad, because sometimes we do some messed up stuff and it's okay, it happens. A lot of times we do it because we're triggered. And if you just accept that I did it because I was triggered and you start to try to catch yourself more often so that you don't do that same action, things change. So, anyways, guess that's a lot. A lot, yeah. A lot on my mind. Um, yeah, I guess that's why when I made that video the other day and I was like I'm excited to like share with you guys everything. It's kind of like I really am. So there's just like so much that keeps hitting me every day. Like you are the table. Just remember that. Like go write that somewhere on your phone or something, or like on a piece of paper so you can see it and remind yourself, especially in those moments when you're dealing with some bullshit and you're just like, I am the table. I don't deserve this. I don't have to deal with this anymore. And raise your standards and treat yourself better and deal with your inner stuff. You need to forgive your parents. That's what Jesse Lee Peterson on YouTube says. You sounds like you need to forgive your parents. And it's true because a lot of us got mommy and daddy issues that we need to heal because those same issues that were triggered and activated in us when we were little, and it doesn't even mean your actual mom and dad, it's whoever played those roles, the mother and father figure, when you were a child between the ages again of like being conceived and being born. Being conceived and 7 years old is when you're being, essentially programmed as a child. Um, you've got to forgive what happened, what you remember happening, but you got to be able to forgive that relationship between those people because it's like been like since then it's like you haven't changed since you were 7 years old. You've literally been the same person, and that's why I used to say a lot of times that we're just all children on the playground bullying each other, and we're all just hurt kids. Um, that is essentially true because a lot of us have not changed since the time you were 7. You think because you gain all this material stuff that you're like mature and you're grown now, but no, you're still that same 7-year-old kid whose feelings were hurt. And now every time somebody does something, they trigger the same hurts you experienced in your first 7 years of life. And you react the same way you've always had. You haven't changed. It doesn't matter how many books you read or how many gurus you listen to or I don't know, courses you buy and stuff like that. I mean, if you're not actually addressing the stuff that happened in the first 7 years of your life, you know, and you're not forgiving those people and letting it go and deciding to change your story, you're not changed. You're not. You're still that same hurt 7-year-old kid running around bullying other people, playing the victim, and yada, yada, yada. And life is not going to change for you until you address that stuff. And it's not always easy because, some of us had rougher childhoods than others. Some of us were hurt deeper than others. Some of our wounds are deeper than others. Um, so it's not always easy to face. But once you face it and you're able to realize that, man, I've been telling myself this same story for years and years and years, and you're able to let that story go and see life differently, your whole world changes. Because again, you create your world. You're at the table. It is your world. You know, it's your universe. So as soon as you change the way you see something, your whole world changes. It really does. So yeah, that's the biggest, hugest thing that's just hit me the strongest lately. Like, you're the table, it's your world, it's your reality, and everything that's happening, it's literally a manifestation of the hurts you experienced as a child, and you've got to let that stuff go. But you have to address it first. Like, I've been going through different things that just happened in my childhood and how I felt about it and how it affects me now. And I can clearly see that I haven't changed in a lot of ways. Like, I'm still that 7-year-old Shanae who was just hurt as a kid. And it's like every time somebody like presses that button, you react, you know? And I've had to let go of a lot of things, I've still got work to do. But I've definitely let go of a lot of stuff. I found out a lot of stuff. I've had a lot of talks like with my mom about stuff that happened when I was a kid. And I learned stuff that I didn't even know happened when I was a kid because, she was just so open with telling me certain things. I would sit back and be like, damn, that's why I do what I do. Or that's why, like, there's like, the one thing we've been talking about, like, as a family, or really like me and my mom a lot the last few weeks is like, spanking your kids or smacking them in the head. Like, She kept bringing up something about that she learned about, because she's a Christian and I used to be a Christian. I'm not anymore. But she would talk about, oh, it says in the Bible, if you spare the rod, you spoil the child. And I was just like, Mom, do you really think that spanking and hitting a kid is teaching them anything? Like, do you really think that that's like? I'm thinking. I was like, how many black families grew up with their parents spanking them, beating them, or smacking them in the goddamn head because you did something that the parent didn't like, because you triggered that parent, right? And I'm like, and did it really help us growing up? Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, people be like, oh well, I turned out all right, but it's like, are you really? Are you really all right? Like, imagine, a child, you got your parents who you love and you feel like they're supposed to protect you, and they come and bring a belt to your ass. Do you feel protected? No. Like, you feel hurt, you feel like you can't trust people, and it's just like, I was like, why do we do that? And I even find, like, I'm really glad that I don't have children yet, because I have my dogs right now, and I feel like my dogs are almost like my first children that I get to practice with, and they're revealing to me like how fucked up in the head I am, in a sense, because it's like the smallest thing and pop in the back of the head. And I was talking to my mom about it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I used to pop you anytime you piss me off. I just pop you in the back of the head." And I'm like, "Well, no wonder I'm the way that I am. Like, no wonder I see that as like, why is violence to me a resolution? Like, why is it that my dog does something I don't like, and I feel like I have to smack my dog in the head, because they did something I didn't like? Like, aren't there other ways to solve a problem?" And I said the same thing. Like, when I have children, I don't feel like I want to hit them because they didn't do something I liked. Like, that child is learning how to be themselves. Why would I hit them for making a mistake? You know what I mean? And so, like, for me, I hear a lot of people talk shit, like, when they're like, oh, you don't spank your kids, oh, they're buck wild. But I could tell you, I see a lot of people who decided to raise their children differently and decided to raise them in a nonviolent way, like nonviolent communication, learning to actually understand them and communicate. You know, like, for me as a kid, I would always ask a lot of questions, and my mom did not like me asking questions all the time. And it's kind of like, kids ask questions so they can understand. Like, if you tell them not to do something, but you don't actually answer their questions as to why, they're not going to understand it. So no wonder why they're going to go make the mistake and do it anyway, because they don't understand and you didn't want to explain to them. You know, kids ask questions because they want to understand. Children aren't stupid. They're not like just, they're just tiny humans. That's literally all they are. They're a being just like, like I am. And so it's just like, to treat a child as if they're less than you because they're smaller than you and they're younger than you is just, to me, it's like, that's not right. And so that's something that I even, like, going back and realizing, like, a lot of us, especially black people, like, how many of us got spanked, beat, smacked, all kinds of just ways of just violently, like, let me keep you in line. You need to do what I want you to do. Don't humiliate me. Don't embarrass me. Don't do nothing that's going to make me look like a bad parent. Like, the kid is just being a damn kid. When I, like, realized that with my dogs, like, my dog is being a dog. My dog likes to jump on other dogs. She gets excited when she sees other humans. Um, Sometimes she gets so excited she pees. She likes to sniff my other dog's butt. Like, they love sniffing each other's butts. They love to play all day. And it's like they're children, essentially. They're baby dogs. Like, why am I going to get mad at them and yell at them all the time because they're playing too much? They're puppies. Like, what do you expect? So that was another thing that, just when you look back into your childhood and you learn different things, like, you start to see how, as much as you don't want to be like your parents, you become your parents because you're working so hard to not become them, but they instilled the beliefs that you have, because they trigger those. And you have to be willing to, one, forgive them because they were only acting out of triggers as well that they learned from their parents, and so on and so forth. You have to forgive them. You have to forgive yourself for perceiving things that way and for acting out in that way for the rest of your life. And you have to let go that it happened because you can't change the past. It happened already. you know and it's like, when you really begin to do that work, you just, you have a lot more peace. You do things differently. Like, I find myself getting less and less angry with my dogs. And again, I'm so glad that I had the dogs before I decided to start to have children, because it's like, they showed me how I would treat my children. And I was like, I don't want to treat my children that way. I don't want to yell at them. I don't want to smack them upside the head. Like, I don't want to be getting angry over stuff that's teeny tiny little, like, kid, like kids are going to do stuff. They have to learn how to be a human. They have to learn how to walk and talk and pee in the right spots and eat and drink. And they have to learn these things. And to get mad at them because they make a mistake is just, you know, and a lot of times we do it because we feel hurt because they did it. And it's either because we felt rejected by our child, we felt abandoned, we felt betrayed, we felt humiliated, we felt like they did something that just was bad, and we want them to be good. I mean, it's like when you have a dog and you say, good girl. Like, how many times have I trained my dog and they learned to do what I want because they learned that, oh, when mommy says good girl, that means that's good. Like, my dogs had no idea what good and bad was until I taught that to them. So it's just kind of like you just begin to realize how, again, you become your parents and your parents became their parents, and it's just hundreds of years, guys, hundreds of years of the same belief system we've been stuck in. And I'm just like, no, that's, when people talk about generational curses and healing those, that's what healing a generational curse is. It's me choosing, I'm not going to spank my children when I have children. I'm not going to hit my children. Instead, I'm going to do my best to talk them through situations and help them to understand consequences, and understanding that there's a consequence for everything you do. Everything has an effect. You're the cause. Everything you do will have an effect. You put your hand on the stove, it's going to burn. And if they happen to do it, they're not going to get in trouble with it. They already experienced the effect. What do I need to go and, add on to that for? I don't. So yeah, just a lot. Yep. Childhood trauma is something else. It really is. It really, really is. It's crazy how we, again, 7-year-old kids all running around just hurting each other because we're all hurt. If I ever have children, I don't want to spank them. There are other effective measures. Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, like, first thing, talk to them. Treat them like they're an adult human in a sense. Like, yeah, you're a parent, and so you have responsibilities in a sense. You make sure they stay alive and that they're fed and have shelter and stuff like that, but also guide them because they're going to become adults too. And if you can just, a lot of times, if you can just talk to a child and explain something to them, they understand it. They're not stupid. Like, they really aren't. They can catch on to things so much faster than we can. And a lot of times they're very quick to observe and take it on and then do it. So if you can just explain something to them, they'll be like, oh, okay. It's that simple. Because kids, they definitely are the ones that's going to ask why. They just want to know, and that's the only way they're going to learn is if you teach them, if you explain to them. So to me, like, that's the first measure, like, before even like punishment and stuff, because a lot of times, again, their punishment naturally will come. If you look at how life works, if you do something, you're the cause, the whatever consequence or result is the effect. And so why do you have to go and punish somebody when they already received the result of their actions? You don't. You just teach them, like, hey, this is the result of your actions. This is why that happened. You did this, which caused this to happen. If you don't want that to happen again, then you're going to have to do things differently. Easier said than done, I know. I don't have children yet. I'm trying my best to instill that with my dogs because, again, I don't have children yet. And I know that children can pluck your nerves. I know that they can trigger buttons, press buttons, because they're with you all the time and you never get to really leave your children. But if you learn how to deal with those triggers in a way where you're not acting out on them, I think that's like the first step to change, because you're going to get triggered. It's going to happen. But if you can react differently, that's when things change. So yeah, anyways, I think my toenails are dry now. I've been trying to sit here, I painted my toenails. It's beautiful. My favorite color right now. And I thought I'd go live while I was painting them because I like to let them sit for about an hour or so, because I'm one of those people that if I get up and move right after painting my toenails, they somehow get messed up. So, believe they're dry now. Yep. So yeah, I'm really glad I did this. It was really like it's been fun talking to you guys, and I want to go live a lot more, a lot more often. Um, and I want to post a lot more of those just like little short videos and things like that. That's just kind of what my vibe is right now. Um, I don't know. I don't really feel like doing a bunch of like fancy videos. It's just I don't care for it right now. You know, I just like want to come here and just talk to you guys and be able to connect with you guys and stuff like that. That to me is more fun than anything. It's like I have a having a conversation. So yeah, I don't know when I'll be live again. That's another thing I'm learning about myself. I don't want to like force myself to be like I'm gonna go live every Monday or every Friday. Like no, I'm gonna go live when I want to. You know, um, so that we can chat and have conversations. And there will be days where I just maybe film a quick video on my phone and I post it. And there might be days where I do film some like video that I actually edit and put together and it's like beautiful and wonderful. You know, I might do those every now and then. I don't know. Just depends what's on my mind. Yes, I enjoy your live stream so much. Well, awesome. Shoot, because I enjoyed it. I'm like, this is probably the most fun I've had on a live stream. Like, it didn't feel like forced where I'm trying to teach something. It was like, nah, I was just painting my toenails with my girlfriends. That's what it felt like. So, but anyways, got other stuff that I want to do today. So, thank you guys so much for tuning in. And if you're watching the replay, definitely leave comments. Leave comments below, and because I do respond to pretty much every single comment. Like I like responding to comments. It's fun. Um, so yeah, if you're watching the replay of this, give it a like, subscribe, leave comment. You know, if you made it all the way to the end of this, wow, hour and a half live stream, that's awesome. So yeah, thank you guys again so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys soon. Bye.